From the moment the ball tipped in Game 1 between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies, the energy inside the arena crackled with intensity, and it was immediately clear this wouldn't be just another playoff matchup, but rather an all-out basketball war in which every possession carried the weight of pride, momentum, and legacy, and unfortunately for Ja Morant and his Grizzlies, it was the Thunder who came ready to throw the first punch and keep swinging. Coming into this game with 9 straight victories over Memphis, the Thunder had already established themselves as the psychological bullies of this matchup, and while many assumed the Grizzlies would come out with fire and focus, especially with Morant healthy, Jaren Jackson Jr. poised for impact, and the towering rookie Zach Edey looking to make his playoff mark, it quickly became obvious that Oklahoma City had a different kind of edge, one that was sharper, more cohesive, and downright suffocating. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the Thunder's leader and quiet assassin, played with the kind of poise and purpose that signaled he was done accepting anything less than dominance, and in what marked his 24th career playoff game, he looked more prepared than ever to shake off the narrative of being a star who hadn't quite delivered when it counted most. On the other side, Ja Morant, suiting up for his 20th postseason game and carrying the weight of a city on his shoulders, started off with energy and flashes of brilliance, but as the game progressed, his signature explosiveness was met time and time again by a swarming Thunder defense that refused to let him find any real rhythm, and each possession seemed to drag him deeper into frustration. Lu Dort, the Thunder's defensive heart and soul, delivered a masterclass in two-way play, not only hounding Morant with physical defense that left no room to breathe, but also confidently knocking down shots, including a crucial corner 3 that helped set the tone early and reminded everyone that his offensive game has grown just as fearsome as his already elite defense. But the real shocker in the first half wasn't Shai or Dort, it was Isaiah Hartenstein, the unassuming big man who suddenly became the Thunder's secret weapon, scoring with soft-touch floaters, orchestrating from the high post with pinpoint passing, and dominating the glass with the kind of grit that completely disrupted Memphis's interior presence. At one point, he was even outscoring Ja Morant, a stat that said more about the game's direction than any flashy highlight could. Chet Holmgren, back in full form after missing a chunk of the season with injury, brought a relentless mix of length, timing, and finesse, blocking Zach Edey at the rim not once but twice, then sprinting the floor like a guard and drilling a 3 to cap a 7-point personal run that electrified the home crowd and had the Grizzlies visibly reeling. Despite Morant's attempts to initiate offense and get into his usual rhythm with floaters and acrobatic finishes, every drive was met with resistance. Oklahoma City rotated seamlessly, their guards fought through screens with purpose, and even SGA, often overlooked defensively, stepped up with key blocks and contested shots that further tightened the screws on Memphis's offense. By the end of the first quarter, Oklahoma City had already built a sizable lead, fueled by an 11-2 run and suffocating team defense, and when interim coach Thomas Isola, stepping in after Taylor Jenkins's firing in March, called a desperate timeout, the damage was already done, with the Thunder executing on both ends and Memphis searching for answers they clearly didn't have. Memphis's top contributors were nowhere to be found in their usual form. Jaren Jackson Jr. couldn't buy a bucket, Desmond Bane looked off balance and hesitant, and John Conker's air balls only deepened the sense that this was turning into a nightmare start to the series. Oklahoma City, by contrast, looked surgical. Jalen Williams slashed and defended with purpose, SGA sliced apart defenders with deceptive speed and balance, and Isaiah Joe came off the bench ready to shoot, burying a deep 3 that pushed the lead to double digits and sent the crowd into a frenzy. And then came a rare twist. The Thunder shifted into a 2-3 zone midway through the first quarter, a move almost unheard of that early in a game, and one that left Memphis completely out of sync, with Morant firing a rush 3 that clanged off the rim and signaled just how flustered the Grizzlies were. Chet Holmgren continued his dominance, blocking yet another anti-attempt at the rim, collecting the rebound, initiating the break himself, and draining a trailing 3 that brought the house down. It was a sequence that said everything about this young Thunder team. They're fearless, versatile, and utterly unafraid of the moment. By halftime, the numbers told the story just as clearly as the body language. SGA was perfect from the free throw line, Hartenstein had double-digit points and multiple assists, Holmgren was stuffing the stat sheet with rebounds and blocks, and Morant had more turnovers than assists, shooting under 40% and looking increasingly frustrated. Zach Edey, despite a few strong finishes, looked overwhelmed by the speed and precision of OKC's frontcourt. The double bigs of Holmgren and Hartenstein rotated like veterans, denying him the easy post touches he thrived on in the regular season, and when he did catch deep, help came instantly from the wings, forcing rush decisions and limited impact. The second half only deepened the divide. Oklahoma City turned up the pressure, forced turnovers, and continued to run in transition, while Memphis increasingly relied on low-percentage shots and one-on-one play that only widened the gap. And you could see it in Ja Morant's eyes as he slapped his hands in frustration, looked to the bench for help, and got none. One defining play saw Lou Dort intercept a lazy pass, sprint the length of the floor, and finish with an emphatic dunk that brought the entire crowd to its feet. And as the camera caught Morant standing at half-court, staring at the hardwood, it was clear this wasn't just a loss, it was a gut punch to a team that believed it had something to prove. Now the narrative questions begin swirling. Can the Grizzlies bounce back? Or is this the beginning of another first-round exit that raises serious questions about their future, their coaching, and Ja Morant's ability to carry a team deep into the postseason? Meanwhile, the Thunder, riding high on energy, chemistry, and a deep roster that's clicking on every level, look more than ready to make a serious run. Coach Mark Daigneault continues to push all the right buttons, his rotations are sharp, his players are locked in, and with SGA operating at near MVP level and Holmgren growing with every possession, this team is no longer just a dark horse, they're a legitimate threat. So what's your take? Did the Thunder just expose the Grizzlies? Or is this just a Game 1 overreaction? Can Ja Morant bounce back? Or are the cracks starting to show? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for non-stop playoff coverage and the realest basketball breakdowns you won't find anywhere else. Because if tonight taught us anything, it's that the road to the finals might just run through Oklahoma City.